Music.
That's what happens when you're not ready. What's good people? It is I, the man that you all know and love, E Digger, and welcome to this special message that I wanted to share with you for this good day, this Father's Day. Um, First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody that is watching, everybody that is tuned in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Wanted to try something new. I'm trying this Haps TV app. For those who are not familiar with Haps, it's a great concept. Um, love the platform. Um, this is a way to allow yourself to uh, pretty much broadcast. Hey, what's going on, man? What's up, Young Smooth? What's going on with you, man? So like I said, this Haps thing is really, really great for those who are podcasters and live streamers. Today, good people, I have a message for the fathers. I have a good little message for the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. And I'm talking about all the father figures. You know, a lot of people get it misconstrued that, you know, you have to be a biological father. You really don't. You have to be a father figure, whether you're a stepfather, an uncle, godfather, grandfather. You don't necessarily have to be the biological father to be acknowledged as a father figure. So this day is for you. And I wanted to touch on three things that is kind of beneficial in this thing called fatherhood. You know, I was blessed some 18 years ago with a beautiful child, and my only child, my only biological child. And by marriage, my wife Linnea has two children, a girl and a boy. And you know, you get to the point where you stop saying step. You just go ahead and say they're your children, and you treat them the same. You don't treat them any different. And you know, I want the fathers out there to realize that, you know, the things that you do in your child or children's lives will have a huge impact on their life growing up. You see, and before I get into these three components that I wanted to share with you, I wanted to tell everyone that, you know, two men were very, very well. Like I said, I have brothers. I got three brothers. Older brother and my other brother and my other brother who passed. It was them who taught me values, taught me how to be a man. So I'm sending a huge happy Father's Day to my brother, which is not here physically, but he's here in my heart. My brother David, who was right there when I was young, and he taught me the values of being a man, the acceptance of responsibilities. Your word is your bond, and just being a man. You know, the importance of being a man, what a man does, you know, and just being that father figure. And he was a father himself, you know. And I looked up to my brother David. I really looked up to him, and I wanted to be. Of course, you want to be like your brothers. You want to be like your father, your uncle, your grandfather, just for who he was and what he stood for. And of course, my dad, who of course is not with me physically, but he's here in my heart. And he taught me the same values: the importance of saving money, the importance of standing tall and looking someone in the eye when you speak, and holding your ground and holding a job, you know, that longevity at your job. Nowadays, you know, a lot of boys do not have that luxury of having their father present in their life growing up. And I was one of the few that were fortunate to have my dad in my life. And what I wanted to talk about was these three components right here: presence, validation, and of course, sacrifice. Presence, validation, and sacrifice. These three words kind of, you know, stick out to me every time when I talk about fathers. Your presence, I'm gonna take the first one, presence. Your presence in your child life, like I said, the more you're in their life, the greater impact they will have in life. Your presence, being around your children, spending time with your children, teaching them new things, new adventures. You know, I know fathers right now who think that money, think that doing things for themselves will benefit their children. It may benefit them after you're gone, but the most important attribute of being a father is your time and your presence. And see, my father, he had a routine, people, every Friday. And let me just clear something up right quick before I move on. My mom and my dad was not together, but I knew who my father was. You know, it wasn't a day that I woke up and said, "Mommy, where's daddy?" I knew where he was. He was right there when I needed him. And he came around on 1 or 2 days. It was Friday or Saturday. And he talked to me every single day of the week. I knew his phone number. I would call him. If I needed help with something, I will call him. And if I really needed him and needed him right then and there, it wasn't common for him to get into the car and come right over and talk to me. So your time and your presence is very, very necessary. See, a lot of these new age fathers think that money is equivalent to time. I'm going to give my daughter or I'm going to give my son X amount of dollars and you won't see them until God knows when. That does not take the place of your presence, your physical being in front of your children. Now, if you're serving time, if you're serving time, that's a different story. But being there physically and in physical form, human form, and seeing your child, that is something that is greatly needed in this thing called fatherhood. You know, money only lasts for so long, but your time and your presence last a lifetime of memories. So before you are quick to pull out that knot of money, or before you go to the store and try to buy your son or daughter some clothes because you're absent, I need you to think about what you're doing, because your child would necessarily or want to see you physically. My second point is validation. A lot of people think that, I have to announce what I did for my child every so often. I did this for my daughter yesterday. I took my daughter over here yesterday or the day before. I took my daughter on a long trip to Disneyland, or I took my son shopping yesterday, or all of that sounds good, but that is something that I feel as though you and your child need to know. That's on a need to know between both of y'all type of basis. You see what I'm saying? I don't necessarily have to hear about everything that you did for your child, because at the end of the day, you're not pleasing me. You're pleasing your child. I'm not your child. So you necessarily don't have to validate to anybody but yourself and your child. And I see fathers, especially on Facebook and social media, who, I did this, I'm doing this, and this is for, and I understand. Trust me, I understand. But at the end of the day, that's a conversation between you and your child. See, you wouldn't have to have, you wouldn't need validation if you were not present in your child's life. Let me say that again. If you were being a father, you wouldn't need no type of validation. You wouldn't have to talk to people or brag about what you're doing on social media. That is a conversation between you and your child. Only you and your child needs to know that. And it really leaves a sour taste in my mouth sometimes when I see these fathers on social media talking about I did this, and I'm going to do this, and this needs to be like this because I did it like this. Honestly, as cruel as it may sound, what I'm about to say, I don't care. That is a bond or a conversation or time that you're spending with your child, girl or boy, or children, child or children. It that does not need justification or validation. And I'm just being real with the fathers. Whether you are a father to a child who's, my child right now is 18, he'll be 19 next year. I don't need the validation. I don't need to let everybody know what I do for my child, because I know in my heart that I am a good dad. I don't need to explain that to people. And as fathers out there on this Father's Day, knowing how you are, the relationship, get ready for this, with the relationship that you have with your child or children, that is solely up to you and your child or your children. You know, it's not a law or a handbook or anything to say you got to get on social media every day or every hour to say what you did for your child, because like I said, at the end of the day, that's between you and your child, and that's it. You don't have to explain yourself to everybody, you know. And my next step, or my next topic or word that I wanted to emphasize on this Father's Day is sacrifice. Sometimes you just got to think about the things that are important to you and what's the things that are important to your child. Now, if your child is somewhere and they don't want to be there, and your child call you in the middle of the night and you are in a situation where you're enjoying yourself with the company of whomever, you're at a club or you're at a party and you're having the time of your life and your child called you, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to sacrifice? Are you going to sacrifice your child's help, or are you going to sacrifice that party? You're going to sacrifice that time that you having with that young lady, or that you're going to sacrifice your time with that young lady, or you're going to be with your child, or you're going to go get your child out of that situation. See, a lot of fathers struggle with that. You know, they, especially if you're not, you know, you and the child's mother is not together, free man, you pretty much doing what you want to do, and you know your child is in a place where they don't want to be there. They don't want to be at the location that they at. So you get, like I said, you get this call. You get this call and your child is unhappy and you can hear it in their voice. As a father, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to your child, get your child, and take him or her out of that situation? Or are you going to continue to have a good time? Sacrifice. I know fathers right now that would rather have that good time instead of getting their child. You know, and the common, you know, response to that is, oh, they going to be all right. They good. Wow. I can't even sit here and begin to tell you that if that was my child, I'm going to get my child. It ain't no ifs, ands, questions, buts about it. I'm getting my child. But you'll be amazed at how many fathers out there who neglect their child's needs in order to have a good time. You know, I'm just keeping it real with y'all. So I want to say, first and foremost, shout out to the real fathers. You know who you are. You don't need a validation. You don't need to remind people how good of a father you are. Because at the end of the day, you know what you have done. You know what you are continuing to do in your child's life to your best of your ability, not nobody else's. Because like I said, good people, the only person that you have to answer to is that child or children. So whatever you consider the best of what you have done in this thing called fatherhood towards your child, that is between you and your child. You don't need to go live on Facebook or go live on Instagram every single day and say what you done for your child. Because you know, and God knows, what type of father you are. I didn't want to come on here and point the finger at nobody. I just merely wanted to state facts. Because as a young father myself, when I was growing up and I had my child, I had two decisions to make: whether to stay or whether to go. In the back of my head, like I said, me and his mom are no longer together. When we were together and we were in our separation stage or beginning to separate, I had two choices, people: whether to go and leave my son or stay and be there for my son. Now, with this situation that was going on, I left, but I was there. I provided for my son. I visited my son. I took care of my son because that's what men do. Notice that I said men. That's what a man does. And fortunately, due to some circumstances later, my son came to stay with me. And during our time of one-on-one and teaching and coaching and preparing him for life, because that's what men do. They prepare each other for life, the future. So I want to take this opportunity right now to wish all of the fathers, the new fathers, soon to be fathers, all of the stepfathers, uncles, grandfathers, godfathers, father figures, a happy Father's Day. Like I said in the beginning, you don't necessarily have to be a biological father to enjoy this day. And I want to say, first and foremost, I want to say thank God that I had a chance to be surrounded by my dad. I had a chance to witness my brother being a father. And I also lived with another key person in my life, who was the pastor of my church, who further taught me the meaning of being a man. What is a man's job on this earth? Protect, provide, nurture, teach. All of those key attributes, details a father. So again, I want to say happy Father's Day to everybody out there, all the true fathers out there. You know who you are. And as you go on throughout this day, may you be reminded of the teachings that another father gave you, that your father gave to you, passed down to you, that your grandfather passed down to you. See, I was surrounded by a lot of men who were fathers. And in their conversation, there were teaching moments, because that's what men do. So as you go out throughout this day, enjoy your day. Smoke a cigar. Go outside, have a barbecue with your family. Be surrounded by other fathers out there. Continue to teach other boys and teenagers growing up the importance of being a man. But as you go on in this journey of life as a father, please be reminded the importance of being a father. To the ones who are incarcerated, I wish I wish you a happy Father's Day as well. To mothers of fathers that are incarcerated, allow your children to see them. Just see them. If your father is here on this earth now, walking around, still living, call your dad. If you and your father are beefing, whatever beef that you have or argument that you have, mend that relationship. If your father is living out of town, go visit your father. If you cannot visit your father, call your father. If your father is within vicinity of where you live, visit your father. Spend time with your father. Talk to your father. Take him out to breakfast sometimes, or take him to dinner sometimes. Bring him a meal. Ask your father if he's okay. See, right now, I don't have a father. Now, I got father figures. I don't have a father. And I wish every single day that my father was here, especially now. But I know that he and my brother is looking down on me right now with proud eyes, because they know that whatever they instilled into my heart and the times that they talked to me, I soaked all of that in and I implement that into my son's growth. So people, wherever your father may be, if they're here physically or they're in your heart, mend those relationships, spend time with your dad, and remember the good times that you had with your father. I want to say again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there in the world. And I want to also say, hey, make sure y'all check out WLEO 26.7 online radio. Go to the website www.WLEO267onlineradio.com. Also, check us out on Charm City Direct TV. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, which we are live right now. Also, check out all the new shows, all the previous shows from both Charm City Direct TV and the new venture, WLEO 26.7 online radio. Of course, y'all been great as always. And remember, good people, talk to your dad. Tell him, hey. And I holler at you when I smile at you. Peace.